Just before the break, we were talking about these constitutional issues, about whether or not the president himself can run again. Rwanda's president has been outspoken. Paul Kagame last week saying, if the citizens of your own country say they do not want you, how can you say I'm staying whether they want me or not? Those are the words of Rwanda's president, Willy Nyamitwe. Your reaction to Paul Kagame's words?
Thank you. What we have to know is what Paul Kagame has said is normal, is the truth. When your citizens say they don't want you, then you cannot run. But how can you know that the citizens don't want you? It's throughout the elections. So we have to go to elections to know if the citizens of Burundi don't want Pierre Nkurunziza as their president. But what we are seeing now is around 1,000 or 2,000 people who are protesting in the streets. So how can we say that 2,000 persons can represent more than 10 millions of Burundians? How can we say that 2,000 persons from the opposition can replace the decision taken by the ruling party that has amongst it more than 3 million of persons who have the age of vote?
And how do you feel? Sorry, how do you feel, Willy? How do you feel when you hear the strong statements both from the Rwandan president and his foreign minister?
Yeah, the foreign minister, what she has said is normal. We have to interpret it positively. She said that it's the international community and the region responsibility to come and see what's happening. Because what happened here in Burundi, when people are in the streets, barricading roads, taking in hostage some citizens, avoiding people to go to school, even the kids, using the kids into this contestation. So what she said, while people are fleeing the country, going into Rwanda, DRC, and Tanzania, this means that the region has to come out and help. This means that international community has to come and help because dealing with these refugees needs some financial needs, some equipment. So what we have to say, what we have to emphasize is that now there's a summit in Dar es Salaam. This summit is a response to this call. The call from the
summit that takes place Wednesday,
the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Rwanda, and the call from President Pierre Nkurunziza, who urged the international community, the US, the United Nations, the EU, the AU, and the region to help Burundi before, during, and after elections.
Karl-Chris Nsabiuyumva, your reaction?
Well, my reaction to the statements from President Kagame?
Yes.
Well, he has a point that it's quite, if the people don't want you, why would you seek to run again? But there I'm actually going to agree with Willy on one point. If people don't want you, they should show that to you in elections. But the issue here in Burundi is that the guy who wants to run for elections again isn't allowed to do so by the law, by the fundamental law, which is the Constitution. So that's one thing. That's one thing we have to deal with first. It's our Constitution. It's not just something that's there. It's the fundamental law of our country. We have to stand up when we feel like it's being violated. And that's what's happening today. And sorry, I'm kind of losing track. And then he mentioned something about it being just 2,000 people demonstrating in the whole country. Okay, if it's just 2,000 people, why has the consequences of the demonstrations why have the consequences been so great in terms of revenue collected by the state? Last month, the Revenue Authority actually collected 18% less than the target. Why is it that there are 50,000 people that have fled the country, and they have fled from outside the capital of Bujumbura? Why is that? Why is it that the government decided to switch off radio stations in the city if they felt that just the 2,000 people that are protesting mean nothing. Why is that? Didn't they feel that there was a certain sentiment of that it was going to spread out? It was going to spread out because even the neighborhoods that the protest started last 2 weeks ago, they've spread out to wider areas of the country and the country. So really, it's not about the numbers, it's about the message we're trying to convey.
All right, and both Willy and Chris pointing out that there have been thousands of people who've crossed the border into neighboring states. It's not an ethnic conflict, but just in case, many of those crossing the border into Rwanda.